everyone, Julie from Live Right, back doing a little bit more testing with some of the many variables with using silicone oil in fluid art. So I've mixed up some paints. This time my pouring medium is, basically my 3-2-1 recipe, 3 parts Floetrol to 2 parts PVA to 1 part pouring medium, and this time I've used GAC 800, and I have just added a dash of the gloss varnish, so in this case the Jasonias, into the cup as I had it there. I'm just trying out some few little silicone cups to try and be better recycling in the environment, so we'll see how that goes. So all my paints today are Amsterdam, except for this gold, which is basically Liquitex Basics gold, and I'll put the colours in the description. See, the gold is a little bit thicker, I think. What I've done is I've mixed them up, because even within the same brand you're going to get different degrees of thickness of the paint. So where I needed to thin it down, I've just done that with a little Floetrol, 80% water, 20% Floetrol mixture, and I'm just going to put a little bit more in this gold. It's a bit tricky with the gold because sometimes you do want it to be a bit thicker because the pigments are heavier and they do sink, and also because of the way it flows, it's harder to judge. But normally how I judge my paints, the main thing you want to do is have them all the same. Obviously for cells you don't want to have it too thick or too thin. What I just tend to do is just do the stick challenge to check that they are all the same consistency. See how they're breaking up around the same time? So I've done that to all of them, and we're ready to go. So I'm using the 1000 CST, which is getting very grubby, isn't it? Live Right dimethicone. And I'm going to, let me see, I've got a little bit of this one green colour here. I might put a drop, I'll just put one drop in that. There's hardly enough of it. And these other ones, I'm just going to put 2 drops in. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not sure, I'll just put 1 drop in that little one, 2 drops in these other ones. And I'm going to leave it out of that one for now, and I must put the 2nd drop in the gold. So the only one I haven't put it in is this creamy colour. So I'm going to give that a good stir in for each of those. I might as well tell you the colours as I'm doing that. So this is the Paynes Grey. I've mentioned the Liquitex Basics gold. This one here is is a permanent red violet. And this one's a real mixture of colours, can't even. So this is a mixture of, it's got some of the Paynes Grey, some of this greeny colour, and I put a bit of extra blue and a bit of extra this. I mucked around to try and get the sort of vaguely the colour I wanted. And this here is the purple, which looks quite different in the tube. So it may have changed colour because of the pouring medium, but this is a permanent blue violet. And I think the white in the pouring medium has made it a slightly different colour. I'm hoping that's going to dry a little differently. And I have mentioned this one is, that one's Phthalo Green, just Phthalo Green by itself. And I've just got a little bit of that. I used it as a base for this one, and I just kept a little bit separate. Okay, so now I'm going to pour into some cups. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to let them So in this first pour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I would normally do. I'm going to pour them, I'm going to tilt them, pour, give the time for cells to develop before I tilt. And then the next one I'm going to tilt much more quickly. Okay, lots of paint left in the cup there. It's all about the way you pour it. And trying to get the right amount of paint edge coming off as you do it. Okay, I like the colours, getting some nice cells forming. And I'm just going to put some, this edge will go off, I'm just going to put some there to help it pour. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. So you can torch it here if you want to and develop a few more cells. You can see I've got lots of these little Floetrol ones through, but I've also got the silicone oil ones coming through. Now I'm not going to overdo the torching, but I'm just going to do a couple of little sections just to see what happens when I here. Oops. So that really, I think that's going to really be better afterwards for the torching. Just going to torch from on high. All right. I'd rather do that sort of torching. It did bring up some other little cells there. It's really, you just got to give it time and be patient. I'm not always good at that. Just to see what actually happens. Because these cells there's still oil in the paint and it's continuing to rise. So where I've torched, I've obviously got the whitish colour coming up, but I've got these other little ones here as well. So this little one here, let's keep an eye on him. They're the ones I like. I can see that it's when we stretch that, those little multi-layer of cells, is going to look really good. Some lovely little ones coming up here with this brighter green colour. I like the brighter green, it's coming up in a couple of places. I purposely didn't use white on this one because sometimes I've found that some of the white paints I've been using have tended to go a bit sort of murky sort of shape. So I've got this buff colour. I'm going to see if that is any different. Like I can tell now this sort of cell I don't like so much. We'll see what happens to that. But these other ones that are coming up here with the lines around them, they're beautiful. Going to be beautiful. All right, so now we're just going to take it slowly. And if you've seen other pours, you'll notice that I've done them both from the same direction. And whilst I was trying to previously cover the board by, I'm just going back and forth here, cover the board by putting them in different directions. The issue with that is that you then have the weight of the paint unevenly distributed. Now I'm just trying to take it off these corners up here. I'm going to have to just let that go a bit more. I have to use my finger there, it just doesn't want to go off the edge. Oops, didn't mean to put colour paint on at the same time. And I'm going to do the same here. Sometimes they're just a little bit reluctant to get to that corner and I can cover them up from there. So I'm just going to bring the weight of the paint back a bit. Down to this other corner. I'm losing these lovely green ones off the side, but just got to do what you've got to do sometimes. Just make that flow a little bit better. Come down to that corner. Again, that corner's stuck. Come back a bit. And now I'm just going to come down to this last corner. Messy bit off. Okay, so I've got the coverage. Just want to think about the composition. That's all right, there's no bits close to the edge that I want to sort of get rid of and take off. so I'm just going to make sure the corners are covered, picking up some paint underneath, trying to match, although there's probably got a bit too much white in. I think that's okay though. Picking up some paint. Much easier picking up paint when I've got this plastic underneath it. Often when there's solid plastic, when it's little plastic, I'm worried about ripping it all the time. Now here's some with a bit of green in, and I'm just going to move that down the side and up this end. A bit more colour there. Sometimes you can get the right colour by putting your finger underneath and getting the drips and using those. Just off in a good way if there's just a little bit. And there's a lot needed. I tend to get a bit of a scoop up and down the side. A little bit there. Okay, so I think that's basically covered. So I'm just going to keep the video rolling. I'm going to move that out of the way and then we'll do the other one. Just going to get the paint drips off the bottom. Whoops, just stick my finger in that. On the side. And then I'm going to come and do the other one. That paint, that consistency that I had, that paint consistency, I think is really good. Okay, so here we go again. But get some, well, I think I better get some new cups, I think. We'll use those with the dregs. So same as last time, we're just going to flip those over. Okay, so the plan this time is to do it and then to move it quickly and then to torch. See what happens. Oops, didn't lift the cup soon enough. So we're already getting lots of cells coming up. Okay, but I'm just going to try and move it. It's a bit odd the way I've poured this one. Don't know why. Actually, you can see the gold there. Alright, I'm just going to go for it as I said I would. Come back down to this corner, over here, and see what happens. Now, what I'm testing to see is if I can, well, a lot of cells were already up, so I have lost some of those initial cells, but I'm trying to see if I can move it enough, move it quickly, and then have more of the cells just come up naturally when I've already got the canvas covered. This is the theory for today, testing out today. Okay, so the cells are still been coming up after I have moved it. But I guess the thing with the silicone oil, the cells do come up pretty quickly anyway, so it was hard to get it before they'd come up at all. Now I'm just going to give it a little torch at high to start with. I'm just going to see what's down here. There's much down here to get. This colour here. It's really hard to remember, but I think these cells here have come up since I did that. I'm just going to try and down this middle bit here, this grey bit. I'd like some more little ones down there. I think that a few more are coming up. It's noisy, isn't it? Sorry I forgot to torch on camera for the other one. With the other one, when I torched, not a lot of other additional cells came up because I'd already had time to come up earlier when it was sitting there. Well, my first sense is there is some merit in doing this as long as the paint mixture is okay and not too thick, because I actually had another go with some different paint, pouring medium, and I wasn't really happy with the cells that formed when I hadn't, when I just quickly stretched and then torched. But these cells I liked. This is great. So I've only just started using Amsterdam paints, and I do like them. So the other variable from this, and perhaps the other big testing ones I've done, is I have used the GAC 800 in my pouring mixture. So many things are going to make just small impacts, but that's good. Now, of course, if you had something that you can still stretch a little bit further, it's going to depend on the thickness, and I don't want to do too much. I just want to see how it's moving within it. So you just need to be aware of how much paint's left on the canvas, and I'm reasonably okay with that. But again, you can just play a little bit and just stretch it without having to try and reach those corners, which is where always we muck up our cells. All right, I'm going to leave that though, and I'll quickly clean up. What I think I'll do is I'll move it, and then I can show you them both side by side. That would be good, I think, and then I'll show the close-ups. Oops, well, that's just lost a corner. Okay, so this is the last one I did. And I think it looks really good. Actually, I'll just show you both. Try and get both into the picture, and then I'll just give you a close-up here. Okay, some nice cells in here. Quite like the colour combinations. There's that sort of grey type hue, but those pops of the pink and the purple, and then this lovely blue colour, which I did run out a bit on this one. But they some nice cells. Quite like these purple ringed ones too. And here was the first one I did. I'll have to move them closer to do a comparison. So there are more bigger cells in this one. But we've probably got there's a few sort of out of shape things. You're going to get those. So let me know which one you prefer. That first one, which has got slightly bigger cell, but I've still got big cells in the other one, or this one here, which is the second one. I think in the second one, the thing that's different is I've got more of these little multi-ring cells, and they came up in the first one, but as I've stretched, I've lost more of them off the canvas. Though some of them, here's some on the original one, so there they are there, but they're a little bit more pushed together, whereas these have come up and I haven't then moved it, so we've got more of those. I think I like this second one slightly more. does vary a bit with the pouring medium. Have fun experimenting. There's so many variables. You've just got to do things, see what it works out like for you on your pouring medium. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. Bye.